Before breakfast cereal became the default food of sleepy children, rushed parents, college students eating over the sink, office workers pretending a bowl counts as dinner, and nostalgic adults who still understand the emotional power of colorful marshmallows, it was not supposed to be fun at all. Cereal began as health food, moral reform, medical advice, religious discipline, digestive science, and one of the strangest attempts in American history to make breakfast boring on purpose. Today, the cereal aisle looks like a cartoon parade crashed into a candy factory. There are chocolate cereals, frosted cereals, fruity cereals, cinnamon cereals, peanut butter cereals, cookie cereals, cereal shaped like tiny toast, cereal shaped like little pillows, cereal with marshmallows, cereal with clusters, cereal with protein claims, cereal with ancient grains, cereal with mascots who look way too excited about refined sugar, and cereal boxes that seem to understand children better than most adults do. But the original idea was almost the opposite. In the 1800s, many American reformers believed the modern diet was making people sick, lazy, overstimulated, and morally weak. Breakfast in many homes could be heavy. Meat, eggs, fried foods, breads, leftovers, coffee, and whatever could fuel a long day of labor. Reformers wanted something cleaner, plainer, lighter, and more disciplined. This was the world that created modern breakfast cereal. It came out of sanitariums, health retreats, religious movements, vegetarian diets, and the belief that food could shape not just your body, but your character. One of the most important places in the story was Battle Creek, Michigan, a town that somehow became the spiritual home of American cereal. Battle Creek was home to the Battle Creek Sanitarium, run by Dr. John Harvey Kellogg, a Seventh-day Adventist physician who believed strongly in vegetarian eating, exercise, fresh air, hydrotherapy, and strict self-control. Kellogg was brilliant, intense, and deeply strange in the way many food reformers are strange. He saw digestion as a battlefield and breakfast as a moral event. He wanted foods that were bland, easy to digest, and free from stimulation. To Kellogg, spicy, rich, greasy foods were not just unhealthy, they were dangerous because they excited the body. He believed bland food could help calm people down. That means one of the most colorful, sugar-loaded areas of the modern grocery store has roots in a movement that wanted food to be plain enough to discipline human desire. That is already hilarious, but it gets better. Early cereal was not convenient in the way we understand it today. Some early products were so hard they had to be soaked for a long time before eating. One of the first cereal-like health foods was Granula, created by James Caleb Jackson in the 1860s. It was made from graham flour dough baked into hard pieces, and it was so tough people had to soak it overnight. Imagine inventing breakfast cereal and making it require homework. But the idea mattered. Grain could be processed, packaged, stored, and sold as a health food. Later, John Harvey Kellogg and his brother Will Keith Kellogg developed flaked grain cereals, including cornflakes, after experimenting with cooked grains that were rolled into thin flakes and toasted. Like many famous foods, cornflakes have a messy origin story full of accidents, experiments, family conflict, and business ambition. John Harvey Kellogg cared about health reform. His brother Will saw the commercial opportunity. Will wanted to add sugar to make the cereal taste better and sell it to a wider public. John was not thrilled. This brotherly disagreement helped define the future of American breakfast. One side wanted bland moral discipline, and the other side realized Americans would buy a lot more cereal if it tasted good. The sugar side won. Will Kellogg founded what became the Kellogg Company, and cereal began moving from sanitarium food to mass-market breakfast. But Kellogg was not alone. Another major figure was C.W. Post, who had been a patient at the Battle Creek Sanitarium and then entered the cereal business himself. Post created products like grape nuts and Post Toasties, and he became a master of advertising. This is where cereal starts becoming truly modern. Cereal was not just food in a box. It was a promise. It promised health, convenience, modernity, purity, energy, better digestion, smarter children, smoother mornings, and a life that could be improved by pouring dry flakes into a bowl. Advertising was essential because cereal had to teach Americans a new habit. For most of history, breakfast was cooked. Cereal said breakfast could be opened. That was revolutionary. No frying pan, no stove, no meat, no waiting, just box, bowl, milk, spoon. It was the perfect food for a country falling in love with speed, packaging, branding, and domestic efficiency. The timing was perfect. As cities grew, work schedules changed, and women were increasingly targeted by advertisers as household managers. Cereal became the food of the modern morning. It saved time. It looked clean. It seemed scientific. It came in a box with a trustworthy name. And because it was dry and shelf-stable, companies could ship it nationally and build brand loyalty. The cereal box itself became one of the most powerful pieces of food marketing ever created. A box is not just packaging. It is a billboard that sits inside your kitchen. Every morning while you eat, the brand looks back at you. It teaches children colors, characters, games, slogans, and cravings. It tells parents the cereal has vitamins, minerals, whole grains, energy, fiber, or whatever word sounds healthy that decade. The box became part of the breakfast table. Before phones, before tablets, before everyone stared at a screen while eating, children read cereal boxes like sacred texts. The games, puzzles, cartoons, prizes, and back-of-box stories turned breakfast into a tiny entertainment system. This is one reason cereal became so powerful. It did not only feed children, it marketed to them while they were eating. By the mid-20th century, cereal companies understood children with almost frightening precision. They created mascots that could live in memory forever. Tony the Tiger made Frosted Flakes feel strong and exciting. Toucan Sam turned Fruit Loops into a fruity adventure. Snap, Crackle, and Pop made Rice Krispies sound alive. The Trix Rabbit became a tragic figure, forever chasing cereal he was told was not for him. Lucky the Leprechaun guarded marshmallows like they were treasure. Count Chocula made breakfast mildly spooky. Cap'n Crunch became a naval officer of mouth injury. These characters were not random decoration. They were emotional branding machines. A mascot gave cereal a personality. It made a processed grain product feel like a friend, a game, a joke, or a story. And television made this even stronger. Saturday morning cartoons and cereal advertising became one of the most important combinations in American childhood. Children watched cartoons, saw cereal commercials, asked parents for the cereal, then ate the cereal while watching more cartoons. It was a perfect loop. Entertainment created desire, desire created sales, sales funded more advertising. Cereal became part of childhood not by accident, but by design. The transformation from health food to sugar bomb was gradual but dramatic. Early cereals often marketed themselves as wholesome and scientific, but once companies realized children drove demand, sweetness became the weapon. Sugar made cereal exciting. Frosting made cereal feel like dessert. Bright colors made cereal feel like play. Marshmallows turned a bowl into a treasure hunt. Chocolate cereals turned breakfast into an argument nobody wanted to have too early in the morning. At some point, America quietly accepted that children could start the day with something dangerously close to candy, as long as the box also said fortified with vitamins. That is one of cereal's greatest tricks. It can be dessert wearing a lab coat. The vitamins and minerals were real, but they also helped make sugary cereal feel responsible. Parents could tell themselves it was breakfast. Children knew it was fun. Companies knew it was money. The milk at the end became part of the product too. Cereal does something almost no other food does. It flavors the thing around it. Chocolate cereal creates chocolate milk. Fruity cereal creates a strange neon sweetness. Cinnamon cereal leaves behind a spiced sugar drink that some people love more than the cereal itself. The leftover milk is not a side effect. It is part of the ritual. Cereal is interactive. It changes texture while you eat it. The first bites are crunchy, the middle bites are balanced, and the final bites are a race against sogginess. Every cereal has a different soggy clock. Some collapse immediately, some fight bravely. Some become paste before you can emotionally prepare. This texture drama is part of why cereal is memorable. It is simple, but it moves through stages. It is alive in the bowl for about 4 minutes, and then history begins to soften. Cereal also became a class marker in subtle ways. There were cheap bagged cereals, family-size boxes, premium granolas, health cereals, organic cereals, diet cereals, and trendy cereals with ingredients that sound like they went to graduate school. Grape nuts, bran flakes, shredded wheat, granola, muesli, and oat cereals were often marketed toward adults who wanted discipline, digestion, heart health, or the feeling of being a responsible person. Sugary cereals were marketed toward children, nostalgia, fun, and impulse. But adults kept eating the sugary ones too. This is one of the funniest truths in the cereal aisle. The box may have a cartoon tiger on it, but the person buying it may be 37 and emotionally tired. Cereal is one of the few foods that can be breakfast, snack, dessert, dinner, comfort food, and childhood memory at the same time. You can eat it in pajamas at 7 a.m. or standing in a kitchen at midnight. You can eat it from a bowl, a mug, a plastic cup, or directly from the box like society has briefly failed. Cereal is flexible because it requires almost nothing from you. That is the secret of convenience foods. They meet you when you have low energy. They do not ask you to cook, chop, wait, or think. They just ask you to pour. But cereal's convenience also depends on a whole industrial system: grain farming, sugar production, milling, extrusion, flavor chemistry, packaging, advertising, distribution, and dairy. Many modern cereals are made using extrusion, where grain mixtures are processed under heat and pressure, shaped, puffed, toasted, coated, and dried. Those little loops, flakes, squares, and puffs are not simple farm foods. They are engineered objects. Their shapes are designed for crunch, shelf life, milk behavior, visual identity, and manufacturing efficiency. A cereal piece has to survive shipping, pouring, milk, chewing, and brand recognition. That is a lot of responsibility for a tiny toasted object. The cereal aisle is food engineering disguised as childhood. Even the colors are engineered. Bright cereal colors are designed to signal flavor before you taste anything. Purple means berry, even if no actual berry was emotionally consulted. Red means cherry or strawberry or just red. Blue means mystery. Orange means citrus or something that once thought about fruit from across the room. Flavor in cereal is often less about literal ingredients and more about memory. Fruit Loops famously taste more similar across colors than many people assume, but the colors make the experience feel varied. Your eyes eat first, and cereal companies know it. The prize inside the box made cereal even more irresistible. For decades, cereal boxes included toys, stickers, cards, spoons, games, glow-in-the-dark items, mail-away offers, and little plastic treasures that could turn a grocery decision into a childhood mission. The prize changed the economics of begging. A child was not only asking for cereal, they were asking for the object hidden inside it. Sometimes the toy was buried in the box, which created the ancient household conflict of whether you were allowed to dig through the cereal with your hand. The answer was usually no, which meant children did it anyway. The prize turned breakfast into a treasure hunt and made brand loyalty physical. But as concerns about choking hazards, plastic waste, and marketing to children grew, cereal prizes became less common. Something was lost there, even if the reasons made sense. The old cereal prize was cheap, tiny, and often disappointing. But disappointment is part of childhood collecting. Another major chapter is the rise of granola and natural cereals. In the late 20th century, as health food movements grew, granola became associated with natural living, counterculture, whole grains, nuts, seeds, honey, and a less corporate approach to breakfast. But granola also became commercialized, sweetened, packaged, and sold at premium prices. That is a recurring pattern in American food history. A reform movement creates an alternative, then capitalism puts it in a box and charges more for it. Granola looked like rebellion until it became another aisle category. The same thing happened with organic cereals, gluten-free cereals, keto cereals, protein cereals, and high-fiber cereals. Every era gets the cereal that matches its anxieties. In one era, cereal promises digestion. In another, it promises energy, then weight control, then heart health, then natural ingredients, then protein, then low sugar, then gut health. Cereal is a mirror of whatever Americans are currently worried about. The cereal aisle is basically a museum of nutritional panic. It also shows how breakfast itself changed. For a long time, breakfast was treated as the most important meal of the day, a phrase heavily promoted by people and industries with reasons to make breakfast feel necessary. That does not mean breakfast is bad. It means the cultural importance of breakfast was shaped by marketing, work schedules, school schedules, and food companies. Cereal benefited enormously from the idea that a proper day starts with a bowl. The breakfast table became a place where companies could sell routine. And routine is powerful because once a food becomes automatic, people stop asking why they eat it. They just buy it again. Cereal also became tied to school mornings. A bowl of cereal is fast enough to fit between waking up late and missing the bus. It is one of the few foods a child can prepare with minimal supervision, which gives it a feeling of independence. Pour cereal, pour milk, maybe spill both, but still technically make breakfast. For parents, cereal offered relief. For children, it offered control. That combination is hard to beat. But cereal's reputation has changed in recent years. Many families became more concerned about sugar, processed foods, and protein. Sales of traditional cereal have faced pressure as people turned to yogurt, breakfast bars, smoothies, eggs, fast food breakfast, coffee drinks, and skipping breakfast altogether. The cereal companies responded with nostalgia, limited edition flavors, retro boxes, healthier formulas, protein versions, and products that blur the line between cereal, snack, and dessert. Cereal had to escape the bowl. Now cereal shows up in milkshakes, ice cream, cookies, snack bars, trail mixes, dessert toppings, and restaurant menus. Cereal milk became a trendy flavor in its own right, proving that the leftover milk was maybe the star all along. Nostalgia became one of cereal's strongest weapons. Adults who grew up with sugary cereals now buy them not only for taste, but for memory. A bowl can take someone back to Saturday mornings, cartoons, school days, sleepovers, and the strange peace of reading a box while half awake. That emotional connection is valuable. Food companies know that adults will pay for childhood if it comes in a familiar box. But cereal nostalgia is not only sweet. It also reminds us how intensely children were marketed to, how much sugar became normalized, and how corporations learned to turn cartoons into grocery habits. Cereal is fun, but it is not innocent. Few foods show the relationship between children and advertising as clearly as cereal does. The mascots are cute because they work. The colors are bright because they work. The slogans are memorable because they work. The shapes, prizes, jingles, and cartoons all exist because they work. A cereal box is a sales pitch wearing a smile. At the same time, it would be too simple to say cereal is only manipulation. People genuinely love it. It has real comfort value. It helped busy families. It created shared memories. It gave children small joys. It made breakfast easy. Like many American foods, cereal is both delightful and suspicious. It is a product of reform and capitalism, health claims and sugar, science and cartoons, convenience and craving. That contradiction is why its history is so weird. The strangest part is that cereal ended almost exactly opposite from where it began. Reformers wanted bland foods to control appetite and calm the body. The industry they helped create became one of the loudest, sweetest, most colorful engines of appetite in the grocery store. A food designed to reduce desire became a food designed to create it. Cornflakes were supposed to be plain. Frosted Flakes were designed to roar. That is American food history in one bowl. It starts with a theory about health and ends with a tiger selling sugar to children on television. From hard health biscuits that had to be soaked overnight to Battle Creek sanitariums, Kellogg family conflict, CW Post advertising genius, cornflakes, grape nuts, Rice Krispies, Cheerios, Frosted Flakes, Lucky Charms, Fruit Loops, Captain Crunch, granola, protein cereal, cereal milk, and nostalgic adults eating midnight bowls under refrigerator light. Cereal has never been just breakfast. It is moral reform, food science, branding, childhood, convenience, cartoons, sugar, memory, and marketing, all poured into a bowl. Every spoonful carries a tiny contradiction. It is easy, but industrial. It is childish, but profitable. It is marketed as morning fuel, but often tastes like dessert. It began as discipline and became fun. And maybe that is why cereal remains so fascinating. It tells the story of America trying to improve itself, speed itself up, sell to itself, comfort itself, and sweeten the day before it has even begun. A bowl of cereal looks simple, but behind it is a whole century of anxious doctors, ambitious brothers, brilliant advertisers, cartoon animals, worried parents, hungry kids, sugar chemistry, grocery strategy, and the quiet hope that tomorrow morning can be fixed with milk, crunch, and a spoon.